Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of The Bug Warrior. In today's episode I will show you how to farm Mythic Sanctifications in Season 11, which is by far the worst grind ever created in Diablo 4, and I'm not kidding you. Compared to this, farming Paragon 300 seems to be a walk in the park. That is how time consuming getting Mythic Sanctifications really is. Anyhow, that being said, let's get to it. Alright, so depending on your class there are very specific sanctifications that you might be after, and the ones that give you a mythic power are by far the most important. For the Paladin, the top two sanctifications that are game changers are the Grandfather Mythic effect, which increases your critical strike damage by 100%, and the Ring of Starless Skies effect, which increases your damage by 10% for 3 seconds up to 50%. While you can technically get this sanctification at any type of item, step 1 is to farm for the Mythic Sanctification at a specific type. This means that you need to choose if you will be farming for boots, pants, gloves, rings, shields, or any item that is part of your build, but stick to that specific item until you get the Mythic Sanctification. The reason is that there is a very specific process that you need to follow, and because it is so time consuming and kills your soul, it's better to stick to one type of item first. Personally, I started with the boots, but it's up to you. The important thing is to select something. Once you have decided that, then step 2 is to farm Obols. Yeah, you heard right, you will be gambling for gear at the Purveyor of Curiosities by spending Obols, and it is this low quality gear mostly that we will be sanctifying, because in this method we don't care about the quality of the item, since the sanctification will be more powerful than a perfect 4GA item. Currently there are two awesome ways to get Obols fast. The first one and the fastest one is by slaying the Curious Moral Goblin at Treasure Bridge Nightmare Dungeons. So if you have those type of Nightmare Dungeons, all you need is to open and try to slay a couple of these goblins to get Obols. Remember that when you slay a Curious Moral, you get a bag of Obols, which contains around 1500. Once you get 2 or 3 bags of Obols, go to the Purveyor of Curiosities and begin gambling. Please check what attributes you are after, but don't be too strict with what you get, because once again the sanctification will be the most important part. What I mean by this is that if you get the maximum life instead of armor, that is totally fine. If you get critical strike chance instead of attack speed, that is also fine. I will show you in a minute why you don't need to be so strict. The second method to get Obols is of course by running the Undercity with the Essence of Anguish in the purified version, as that one grants a massive amount of Obols each time you reach an attunement rank. Just remember to pick them up because there is a small delay before they drop. If you are farming at the Undercity, remember to mark Kuraz Bazaar as your favorite town, so when you teleport to town, you go there automatically. Regarding the tributes, I recommend that you run either the Tribute of Ascendance or the Tribute of Radiance, and always select the type of item you are farming. So if you are after boots or pants for example, then select the More Armor bargain. Once you are done with the first run, open the mode wheel and select to leave the dungeon. This way you will appear at the entrance again and enter the second run. You will only go to town after the second run, when your inventory and amount of Obols you carry will be most likely full. After the second run, teleport to town, get rid of what doesn't look good to you, and then go to the Purveyor of Curiosities once again and begin the gambling process. You need to continue doing this until a tab at your stash is full of items to sanctify. Once you have a full tab, the next step is to go to the Jugular and add sockets. Once you're done with adding sockets, next go to the Occultist. What you want to do first is imprint aspects. I also suggest you add the aspects to all the gear that fits in your equipment tab, and when you're done, begin enchanting. When enchanting, please don't be too extreme, as this drains gold fast. What I mean is that you don't need perfect stats. So for example, if you're adding potion capacity to some pants, you don't need to hit +3 potions. If you get +2, that is already good enough. The reason why I mention this is because you're going to be doing this a lot, so no need to hit perfect stats. Also, as I mentioned before, if you get maximum life instead of armor, that's totally fine. Or if you get attack speed instead of critical strike chance, that's also fine. There's no need for perfect in this method. Once you're done enchanting, then it's time to go to the blacksmith and begin tempering. Remember that items that are not 800 power can hit a greater affixed temper, so no need to waste the scrolls of restoration on that. All you need is something that is good enough. So for example, if you are searching say for arbiter duration, the range is 25% to 45%. So if you get something around 40%, just leave it like that. If you want to go for a GA temper, then maybe only do it on really good items that are already 3GA or something like that. But trust me, you don't need it. Once you're done, then it's time to masterwork. Here I do recommend try to hit the main stat as a GA, but don't be too strict because you will run out of need item very fast. So my advice is to try 3 or 5 times, and if you don't get the main stat, just leave it. It's not worth it because 99% of the sanctifications will suck and you will have to do this again. When all your items have been masterwork, then it's time to go to the Heavenly Forge and begin the sanctification process. Okay, this is the last step, but it's what sucks, because the majority of the time you won't get anything good. However, what my friends are doing, and they taught me, is that you need to sanctify as many many items as possible at once, because apparently there is some sort of weird factor that the worse sanctifications you get, then the higher chances you've got of hitting something good, if that makes sense. So the only advice here is to never begin sanctifying your GA or 800 power items, nor those who have perfect attributes. Begin with the worst possible gear that you've got and leave the good ones at the end. For me, it took me 3 full equipment tabs to finally find my first Grandfather Mythic effect. Considering the time it takes to farm the gear and the time it takes to prepare the gear to sanctify, well, let's just say I started doing this Thursday night, then I got to play again yesterday evening for a couple of hours, then I went to bed, then my dog woke me up at 3 AM and I started farming again, and it was, as you can see, at almost 6 AM that I hit the jackpot. So depending on how much time you play, it will be a couple of days or around 10 hours to hit your first Mythic Sanctification. Regardless, what I'm trying to say is that it will take a lot of time. This is the method and this is what needs to be done, but I just want to say that I don't like the Sanctification system. It's the only thing I don't like about Season 11, because it goes against the grind. I personally love to grind to find and feel amazed by good items, but with Sanctification that is now irrelevant, since what matters is the chance to get a mythic power on any kind of gear. So all that remains is to ask yourself if it is worth indeed going down the rabbit hole, since the only reason why you want to farm for Mythic Sanctifications is if you wish to have a spot at the tower or pit leaderboards. Beyond that, it serves no purpose. So if you are enjoying the game, grinding and slaying everything at Torment 4 and you are cool with that, then you don't need to chase Mythic Sanctifications. So before going crazy with this method, do take a moment and be honest and ask yourself if you need it. As for me, I love playing the game and finding this Mythic Sanctification was all but fun. So I don't think I will be chasing more Sanctifications, because that is what sucks. Once you get a Mythic Sanctification, you still need to get at least a couple more to really be at the top. Anyhow, I wanted to share this with you guys, but please let me know in the comments your thoughts. We reached the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far and found the video interesting or useful, please consider to share, like, comment or subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.